Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another film theory, and... yeah, who actually won Whose Line Is It Anyway? Yeah, so... I'll take topics I never thought I'd see on film theory for 1,000, Alex. But yeah, I mean, jokes aside, honestly, is Whose Line Is It Anyway even still on? Because, like, I remember I saw... You know, it's like, for a while there, I saw a lot of clips of it appearing on YouTube Shorts. But other than that, I never watched the actual show itself. Again, I'm surprised that this episode's even an episode, really. It's still being made. Okay, wow. I had absolutely no idea. I don't know, for me it just seems like one of those shows that's like distinctly 90s. But I mean, if it's pulling in enough numbers to still be made, I mean, good for them, they're earning a paycheck, yay. But yeah, I'm sorry to hold on to this. I'm just still flabbergasted that they're making like an actual episode about this. So I mean, I guess it's probably to get the actual reaction started. I have literally nothing else to say about the topic. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my game theory reaction. And with all that out of the way, let's get this thing actually started then, shall we?
Welcome back to Whose Theory Is It Anyway? Now we're going to be playing one of my favorite games, Scenes from a Hat. I'm going to be drawing a suggestion from the hat, and you all are going to have to do a theory. Welcome back to Whose Theory Is It Anyway? Now we're going to be playing one of my favorite games, Scenes from a Hat. I'm going to be drawing a suggestion from the hat, and you all are going to have to do a theory pitch on the spot. Let's see. Okay, your scene is great theories that we will never make. Take it away.
Food theory. How thick can you gargle? What is the thickest substance that you can gargle? Game theory. Best boobs in gaming.
We already did that one time.
Yeah, that's a very old one.
How many t-shirts can stop a bullet?
You know very well that we fully intended to do that episode, Amy.
Film theory. Who won Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Like, who got the most points?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of episodes to watch for an episode that's not...
No, I like that. I love that. Guys, we're done here.
Wait, no!
Yeah, I know.
Nope.
Okay, so I would pay every penny I have to be on the fly on the wall when this episode was put out, and like when they were like brainstorming and stuff, because I want to see if that whole thing was just like a dramatization of what actually happened. Like they were just throwing out ideas, and he said one that was really stupid, and Matt just really liked it.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show where the evidence isn't made up and the theories do matter. Today, my friends, is a monumental day. Today, we're finally looking at the improv show Whose Line Is It Anyway? With a theory that I've wanted to do for literal years. No joke, this episode was actually one of my white whales. An idea that I was kicking around since the start of film theory, but, you know, it never made sense to do because of the amount of work it would take to research for an episode that no one on the internet would care about or click on. I mean...
Yeah, I get. Well, I mean, that just kind of goes, because I remember hearing them talk about this, how like film theory has changed. Like, I remember like early on they were very much more into the actual like theory part of it. Like, oh god, what was it? One of the very first like multi-part theories they did was trying to figure out whether it'd be possible for you to become a Time Lord. And they were going over all the stuff that Doctor Who had done and survived, and seeing how like it's in like going over like real world examples of people who had like survived that. Actually, think about it. Did they ever finish that? Because I remember having a couple of friends at the like years ago saying that they abandoned, like they stopped watching film theory because they just sort of seemingly abandoned the third part of the whole Doctor Who trilogy. Actually, I'm gonna double check that. Oh, no, they actually did make a part 3. Okay, never mind. 6 years ago. Okay, that's why I don't remember it.
I mean, that's just the breaks when you're an online creator. That said, when I decided that my time as the film theorist was going to be coming to a close, I knew this had to be one of those episodes that I went out with. If you somehow don't know about
Matt,
this,
why do you have to keep reminding
Whose
us?
Line Is It Anyway is an improvisational comedy show where the host asks 4 comedians to go play some games. For us Americans, the host was originally Drew Carey and then later followed up by Aisha Tyler. Well, the 4 comedians are usually Wayne Brady, Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles, and some rotating guests. Before that, the show actually originated over in the UK, where it ran for a whopping 11 years. But I never watched it, so maybe one day Tom can do a follow-up episode on that series. In the games, the comedians are given characters to play or tools to use to make jokes. They haven't been told anything about it until that very moment. They have to come up with all the jokes on the spot. It is classic improv at its finest.
Your scene is Ryan is a woman giving birth.
Oh, you okay? Am I okay?
Again, I will say the show itself is, like, at least from the clips that I've seen, it is very funny. Though again, I will say that it very much could be people cherry picking. But still, yeah, I should probably actually check this show out at some point.
Hey, yes. Oh my God! Give me my epidural now. Gotta push. Push. Ready? Push. Yes.
You're not really a midwife, are you?
No, I used to be a used car salesman.
The big thing here, after each game, the host awards points to whomever they want. Sometimes it's deserved, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just a big old joke, sometimes the points are given to people who didn't even participate.
Normally I give Wayne all the points, but something about the way Greg was tapping his toe.
Each and every time we're reminded, points don't matter. It is literally the slogan of the show.
Hey, welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway, the game where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
But
you know that reminds me. I have 2 things that reminds me of. One, it's Distractable, the podcast that Markiplier does with his friends, where the winner of each episode becomes the host of the next one, and it just sort of rotates like that. And I remember in the beginning it was a lot more solidified. Like, the host would give, there's a point, there's a point, there's a point. Then they would collate the points, and then they'd actually win. But now it's a lot more just random, like whoever feels like, okay, you're going to be at this time, or that sort of stuff. And the second one is oh god, what's it called? It's one of these shows that College Humor does on Dropout. It's the game show. No, wait, that's it. That's literally what's that's it. It's called Game Changer, where each episode they're like doing different things, and the whole thing with the points is that it's rather up in the air. If the people really deserve to get the points or not, but still. Well, I mean, maybe not, but still, it has that sort of similar vein at the very least.
what if they did matter? See, friends, despite this very clear mandate from the show that it's all just for fun, and don't think too hard about it, you know me, I can't not think too hard about these sorts of things. That is not how I operate. So when someone tells me that the points don't matter in a game that's been running in America for the past 26 years, my theorist brain hard disagrees. It compels me to dive into that hard data to double check that fact. So after 8 years of wanting to do this episode, I finally sat down and watched all 20 seasons of the show, all to find out if the points did matter, who would the real winner of Whose Line Is It Anyway be? Let me tell you, loyal theorists, despite what they want you to think, Drew Carey here, he's a liar. The points matter, and they matter a lot, at least to Drew.
God.
And the reason why...
I think, again, I've never watched the show, but I have to think, I mean, even if it's only 1 point per skit, depending on how many skits they've done, per episode, over 20 seasons, and this is TV season, so I'm gonna guess there's at least 26 episodes in each one. So yeah, those points are gonna start building up really fast.
Is gonna blow your mind. Draw your name from a hat, my friends. Let's get into the game. So I figured the best way to start this was, well, to just start watching and then count up the points as we go. And then at the end of every season, we check in, we see who's in the lead and who's straggling. Seems pretty straightforward, right? And most of the time, it totally was. After most of the games, Drew just awards 1,000 points apiece to all 4 comedians on the show.
Oh, okay, so this is gonna get really stupidly high, isn't it?
Even if they didn't participate in the game. Easy enough. But you've seen the runtime of this video. Of course, it's not all gonna be smooth sailing. Immediately out of the gate,
18 minutes, that's about the usual length.
Aren't the only people awarded points after these games. Sometimes random celebrities or people referenced in the game itself can also be given points, ranging from the NAACP to the Mafia to whoever made Drew Carey's shirt.
Just for the record, there is no mafia, and I would like to give 1,000,000 points apiece to all our Italian-American independent businessmen friends.
Most of these are one-off jokes that don't impact our totals much at the end of the day, but the biggest beneficiary of these random points has got to be the audience itself. For example, in Season 1, Episode 15, Drew gives 100 points to everyone in the audience sitting behind him.
Hey, I'm going to give 100 points each to the people sitting behind me because they look so perky.
Given that Drew sits to the side of the stage, he doesn't have the entire audience behind him. Instead, looking at wide shots of the studio, in this part of the audience, we can see that there are 5 rows with 9 seats per row, plus an additional 3 people sitting on the top row. So that gives us 48 people, meaning that the audience just got themselves 4,800 points total. And sure, that might seem like a number that you can quickly catch up with, but these numbers climb fast. For example,
exactly. What was I talking about?
Carey gave an audience member named Dennis 1.5 billion points all at once.
1,500 million points for Dennis. All the points you need, buddy. Buy yourself a house.
Just saying, don't count the audience out of this race. So, are we finally ready to...
You know, I can't help but feel that there's some level of inflation going on here. Like, not all of these are, I don't think a point is worth what it used to be.
Get to that nitty-gritty of counting? Well, not quite. See, before getting much further into Season 1, I ran into yet another major problem that would end up recurring throughout the entirety of the show. In some cases, both Drew and Aisha can be incredibly vague with the amount of points that they're awarding. A good example of this? In Season 1, Episode 20, Drew says,
Colin, you get all the points for that one.
He doesn't really give a number here. Because there isn't really a baseline of points given out after every game, I wasn't entirely sure how to count the points in these sorts of situations. So to be as fair as possible, if there isn't an exact or easily calculable quantity of points given, I won't be counting it towards the total. Don't worry, it's not going to make all that much difference in the long run.
Yeah, okay.
Finally, though this won't come up until after Season 1, I did want to go ahead and say that sometimes physical items or money are also jokingly given away as prizes, ranging from a tube of chapstick to a Christmas goose.
Tonight's winner, by the way, gets a lifetime supply of chapstick. That's right. 1 tube of chapstick.
All of these are obviously jokes, and while they're certainly not going to impact the point total and therefore the overall winner of this entire thing, I will be keeping track of it all so we know exactly what everyone won, points and otherwise, at the end of the episode.
So you're saying that we're going to be getting like point and value scores of, like, let's say like 4.8 billion points, $93,000, and 2 tubes of chapstick. Oh my god, this is like sounding almost parody-like at this point. I'm absolutely loving this.
Cool, cool. And so now with all the methodology out of the way, we can really get to counting. Other than the strange moments we just talked about, the only other weird standout moment of point giving in Season 1 comes in Episode 6, where Drew awards both Ryan and Colin points according to their shoe size.
I'm going to award points in that game according to shoe size. Congratulations, Ryan.
Now, as you heard there, it's a bit of a running gag that Ryan has enormous feet and wears size 15 shoes.
Hey, just like me! No, I'm not being fictitious about that. While I was growing up, my shoe size kept up with my age until the age of, 15. That's when my feet stopped growing, and my parents were very happy about that because there aren't that many places I can get shoes. Like one of the few places I can get, I mean, of course there's online, but I usually get them from, like, it's a place out in Oakville. It's called Factory Shoe, and they have sizes up to 16 and 17. I mean, granted, there isn't that much of a selection, but I also don't have that much taste, so it kind of evens out in the end.
That right there, that is an easy 15 points to Ryan. However, I couldn't find Colin's shoe size documented anywhere, so to give him the best estimate, we're going to be giving him 12 points since that's the average shoe size of a man his height, 6 foot 1 inch. At the end of Season 1, that leaves us with these rankings. Coming in first by multiple digits is the audience, with 1,501,008,800 points. In a distant second, we have ourselves Wayne Brady with 2,004,606 points. In third place is Colin Mockery with 1,012,792 points, while Ryan Stiles is all the way down, not at fourth place, but fifth place with a paltry 512,295.5 points. Yeah, believe it or not, but fourth place actually went to famous musician Louis Armstrong, who got himself 1 million points as a joke.
I'm gonna give all the points to Louis Armstrong on that one.
It's a pretty good start for the audience, but are they gonna be able to keep it up? Short answer, no. At least
Oh god. Okay, so man, I'm okay. So the list of participants here is already stupid. How big is it going to be? Also, something I literally just thought of. How long before the statistics said in this episode are like stolen by some like news website, and they just start posting this or something like that. I'm betting, I'm going to try to bet actual money on this, that the information in this episode actually gets taken by some sort of like news website or something. I'm calling it.
At least not through season 2. You see, Colin Mockery actually rockets up to first place with over 1 trillion points, followed closely by Ryan Stiles and newcomer Kathy Greenwood, who likewise earned themselves 1 trillion points, all from the exact same game.
1 trillion points. 1 trillion points. Eat my dust, Regis.
Meanwhile, the audience holds on to 4th place, and Wayne Brady falls all the way down to 5th. So already you can see why calculating this thing is going to be a wild ride. The numbers are just going up and down so fast every single season. And I mean, season 2 didn't even have any points that required me to do a ridiculous amount of math, unlike season 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that by the end of this, we're going to be in like the quadrillions or the Yoda bits or whatever like stupidly high numbers is going to be by the end of this.
In season 3, episode 1, Drew awards the 4 competing comedians, Colin, Ryan, Wayne, and Kathy Greenwood.
I'm gonna give you guys time life points for that. That's right, 1 point a month for the rest of your stinking life.
You know where this is going. It's difficult to calculate given that none of these comedians have yet died, which I hope they don't. May they live forever. I love them all. You are national treasures. But that also means theoretically, they're still getting these points to this very day, 23 years after that episode first aired. But for our purposes here, we can approximate how much they're getting. Though we're not exactly sure the date that the episode was filmed, we do know that it first aired on October 12th, 2000. Using this as our start date, that means that in the present day, each of these comedians would have earned 12 points annually for the past 23 years, totaling out to 276 points. But what about the rest of their lives? To get that number, I decided to look at the average life expectancy for men and women, and then compare that to the ages that these comedians were during the time that the episode was aired. The average male life expectancy is 73 years, while the average female life expectancy is 79 years, giving Kathy a little bit of an edge here. But remember, Wayne is actually the youngest of the 4 comedians here by far, being at least a decade younger than any of them. So assuming they all live to their average life expectancy, Colin would wind up with 360 points, Ryan 384, Kathy Greenwood at 492, and Wayne Brady with a whopping 540 points. Was that too much work for such a small number of points? You betcha! The only other note...
But is it going to be the last? No, it is not, I would imagine.
Worthy point additions in season 3 sees the series regulars Ryan, Colin, and Wayne each getting an additional 2 billion points, leaving Colin in first place, Ryan in second, and Wayne in fourth. That's right, despite only getting a little over 26,000 points in season 3, that trillion points from the one game keeps Kathy Greenwood on the board at third for almost the entire rest of the run of the show.
Oh god, oh no.
That's why you don't skip record days. Finally, though they had themselves a commanding lead at the beginning of the show, the audience has now fallen to 5th place. And now with Whose Line going into its 4th season, the points become less and less of a source of jokes. So from here until season 8, the totals don't really shift around all that much. The only real noteworthy occurrence in these seasons comes from season 5, where Ryan's awarded an additional 1,000,000 points.
1,000,000 points to you, buddy.
This, he just barely edges out Colin for first place. Funny enough, season 5 also features Colin receiving what Drew describes as,
"This is the 1,000,000th point we've ever given away, and who's given away?"
You're a little bit off in your calculations there,
yeah,
Drew. The
you're
1,000,000th point
very
actually
off.
went to the audience back in season 1. Remember that 1.5 billion points given to the audience member Dennis?
1,500 million points for Dennis.
Regardless, this would make for a really fun story, right? Colin and Ryan were the 2 contestants that appeared in every episode alongside Drew, so having them neck and neck makes sense. Well, that would have been the case had it not been for season 8, the final season hosted by Drew, which came along and just ruined it all. Though
Of
most
course,
season
did he
8
give
features
himself
rather
like an
reserved
absurd amount of
spent by
points or
Drew,
something?
He's incredibly lavish in a single moment early on. In season 8, episode 2, Drew laughs at a joke made by recurring performer Chip Eston and awards him this.
Well, 1,000 points to the 10th power to you.
Now, that might not sound like a lot, but that is 1 with 30 zeros behind it.
1,000 to the power of 10. Oh god. Exponents. No, yeah, I remember from school. Exponents get crazy fast.
As in 1, this one's more for the sake of the editors than for you. 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 You get the point. Now, to be fair, this isn't the first time that Chip gets himself points in the game. He was actually sitting at a respectable 2,2,042,000 points before this, but it does put him far and away in first place from this point forward. Like, so far ahead that there was no way that anyone was going to be able to catch him on the show. And from there, that's basically it. Season 8 was the final final season hosted by Drew Carey. So if we just look at the point totals from his run hosting the show, the top 5 point totals from Drew Carey's tenure falls as follows. Chip Eston in first place, Ryan Stiles in second,
I like all the tiny, those digits are so tiny.
Shocking, I think, all of us. Wayne Brady in 5th place. But I wasn't done. I wanted an overall winner from the entire American run of this show. So I also went through all of Aisha Tyler's run after it was revived over on the CW, and it actually wound up being exactly the same. Yeah, though the revival of the show is incredibly funny, the points just aren't used as much as a joke by Tyler during her hosting. So even though she has herself a whopping 12 seasons, the needle doesn't really shift from where it was at the end of Drew Carey's run.
Okay.
So is that it? Does that make Chip Eston the undisputed winner of Whose Line Is It Anyway? A comedian who only appeared in 45 episodes total of the entire series. Well, not so fast, my friends. There's more to
this
this
is
story.
where it gets
A point
weird,
win that
doesn't
I've
it?
lightly ignored and left to be revealed until this moment for the most
Of course,
drama.
yes.
All the way back in season 2, episode 16, Drew gives the guest comedian Greg Proops 0 points for the last game that he was in, but to really emphasize that the points don't matter, he then does this.
No points for you. And a billion zillion points for everyone else.
Similarly, in season 10, episode 21,
Billion
Aisha Tyler
zillion?
Laura and Linda both get like a jillion points.
the series' musical contributors Laura Hall and Linda Taylor. So, how much is a zillion and a jillion? Well, we don't actually have a hard number for that. As far as I can find in my research, zillion and jillion, they're not real numbers. They've never actually been quantified as a specific numerical value. Instead, they're more or less the exact same thing. They're slang terms that represent an unfathomably large number. Basically something so big that it completely melts our little human brains. But these are points that we're given out, so how are you possibly going to be able to count all that? Thankfully...
I'm gonna guess that there's been like some mathematician somewhere that's tried to like quantify these numbers. Again, how many zeros is that going to be? Because that's obviously going to throw the entire thing off whack completely.
We here at the Theory Channels have already found a similarly unfathomably large number. 6 years ago, over at our sister location Game Theory, we calculated the number of possible permutations of levels that you can make in Super Mario Maker. And that number ended up being the terrifyingly large 10 to the power of 12,431.
I remember that episode now. No. Oh God.
A number that's actually larger than the number of atoms in the observable universe. We called it the Marioplex. Pretty unfathomable, right? And it seems like the perfect stand-in for a zillion and a jillion. But wait, for Ryan, Colin, and Wayne, it gets even crazier when you realize that Drew awarded each of them a billion zillion, making the total number of points awarded here 10 to the 12,440th power. I feel like this one needs a name too. We can call it the Whose Lineplex. I mean, it's a big enough number that it doesn't really matter. Feels kind of like the perfect fit for the show. And so, with all of that now said and done, I can definitively say that the overall winner of Whose Line Is It Anyway is Ryan Stiles, who ends up with a point total of 1,3,3,420,743.96 points, plus one Whose Lineplex, as well as $1,147.88, a can of posing oil, and one Christmas goose. Rounding out the rest of the top 3, we have Colin Mochrie in second place with 1,003,018,464,087.46 points, one Whose Lineplex, $1,247.88, another bottle of posing oil, and another Christmas goose. And finally, Wayne Brady comes in third with 5,018,340,955.46 plus one Whose Lineplex worth of points, $1,248.88, one tube of chapstick, one Christmas goose, 7 rubles, 3 pierogies, and 1 mail order bride. Lots of foul given out, as you can see. So basically, the most recurring contestants and contributors on the show round out the top 3, as well as the top 5. And that makes sense, right? I think it does, but as I looked at these numbers, friends, something stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Now that I've sat down and rewatched all these episodes once again, I am now convinced that Drew Carey was lying each and every time he said that the points didn't matter, because they did matter. They mattered a lot to him, and there was no way that Ryan Stiles wasn't gonna wind up with the most points simply because he's Drew's favorite contestant on the show. That's right, it was rigged from the very beginning. Ryan Stiles is a Whose Line Nepo baby. In case you were unaware, Drew Carey and Ryan Stiles have themselves a well-known friendship outside of the Whose Line Is It Anyway universe. Ryan was a series regular and main character in the Drew Carey show, well before the whole Whose Line thing started, appearing in hundreds of episodes episodes alongside Drew, and this favoritism rears its head multiple times throughout Whose Line. Some examples: in Season 3, Episode 27, Drew gives Ryan 500 points simply because he can
Be seen every Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on the Drew Carey Show.
It doesn't get much clearer than that, does it? Another time, after awarding everyone 1,000 points apiece, Ryan tells Drew that he wants 2,000. Easily swayed, Drew gives Ryan the extra 1,000 before mouthing, "I love you." In Season 4, Episode 3, Drew gives Ryan 10 times more points than everyone else to make up for being mean to him.
1,000 points, everybody. 10,000 points to Ryan. I'm sorry I called you freak.
And in Season 2, Episode 18, Drew awards Ryan 1,000 points just because he likes what Ryan's wearing, not giving any to Ryan's scene partner Colin.
Yeah, I'll give you 1,000 points just for the shoes.
Honestly, I could go on and on and on, but at this point you get the idea. Drew gave more and more points to Ryan only because of their friendship, rigging the game from the very start. And perhaps the most interesting part of all of this, despite constantly getting more of these extra points than all the other comedians, Ryan actually won a noticeably fewer number of episodes than all the other series regulars like Colin and Wayne. Colin won 211 episodes, Wayne won 210, Ryan just won 172. That's a pretty big difference there. But why? Why is the guy with the most points actually winning the fewest number of episodes? Well, because the winner of every episode is the one who gets to replace Drew as the host for the final game of the episode, while all the rest have to play one final improv game alongside Drew. Ryan was named the winner of significantly fewer episodes because Drew wanted to play games with his friend. All in all, despite the favoritism shown to Ryan, the fact that the top 5 winners of the show end up being the show's most regular contributors, Ryan, Colin, Wayne, Laura, and Linda, just feels right, you know? Right now,
I mean, of
it's
course,
uncertain
yeah.
if Whose Line is going to be continuing past its 20th season, and if it does, it's likely not going to be with this same cast. After more than 25 years of acting together, this particular cast feels like it's time to move on, which is fitting and bittersweet. It's actually part of the reason I wanted to do this episode. This is an idea that I've had since I started Film Theory, and as I myself now pass the torch of these channels on to the next generation, it felt like the right time to finally mark this one off the bucket list. Because in the end, the real winner of Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's been us. It's always been us, the viewers. Literal generations of us, as we've gotten to smile and laugh to the point of tears at these incredibly funny people performing at the top of their game. And so to the cast and crew of Whose Line, thank you. Thank you for 3 decades of incredible comedy. It might have all been made up, but it certainly did matter. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
I really, I mean, when you get down to it, this is just like a pure classic theory episode. It's going down purely going into the nitty gritty, just doing the math, but at the same time, this was so weird. I mean, again, if this, I guess it does, I guess it does make sense why this feels so weird. If this was like one of those ideas from the very earliest days of film theory that's only being brought out now as sort of like a final send-off to Matt. But still, I have nothing I can really say about this. It was so weird and just like, of course, like weird made up numbers. I got nothing to add to this. I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, so I guess that's going to be it for now. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my game theory reaction. And with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.